What's up, guys? Devin here from American Aquarium. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have an informational video for you, and of course there's some written information paired in a link in the description below. This is a very common question, and when we're interactive in the groups, when people come into our email, we have a lot of how do we treat type of questions. And while we like to think that we have a lot of very in-depth information on how to treat, there's still a step that needs to happen before we start making recommendations. American Aquarium believes very heavily on prevention. Many tests over the decades have shown if you can do simple steps, 1, 2s, and 3s, the chance of disease later down the road is just so much more less. So if your fish is sick, stick with me through the end of this video and you'll have a clear direction of what you're supposed to do. This video is not meant to get specific treatment instructions, but how to look at the fish through a lens of, okay, how have I gotten to this point? How has the fish gotten to this point? And how do we now take care of the fish that is sick? What we can guarantee too is if you are able to follow these steps in order, 1, 2, 3, the incidences of disease will be less. We have proven it time and time again. Unfortunately, our experience has also shown that many people will take information on treatments and not follow the 1, 2, 3s, but mix in other people's advices with other people's advice, and then mix them, and now they have a 1, 2, 3 and another 1, 2, 3 that they're trying to mix together and thinking that more is better, but not always the case. The first step when thinking about treating for a fish is taking a step backwards and thinking about the background of the fish. What are the water parameters? What filters are you using? How are you feeding? How is the fish kept? This is all going to lead to how successful you'll be with your treatment. Well, we have found that oftentimes many people will go, oh, my water is good. I've been using my water for a long time. My water is good. But what we want to do is actually dive into each parameter and understand how the stability and the balance of the tank has been and where we're at now. A lot of people, when seeking treatment advice for fish, will not provide the simple parameters of the aquarium. You have to start with the parameters. The couple parameters for freshwater that are often missed, probably 90% of the time that are missed, are a GH and a KH. These are arguably more important than knowing the other parameters because they show us important electrolyte minerals and how stable the pH. Remember, we're not trying to chase pH, we're trying to stabilize pH. So that's our first step. We want to make sure that all of our parameters are in order, in check, and at the right levels they need to be. This actually will determine success of treatment. If parameters are out of order, if they're not balanced, and you are trying to do a treatment, the success of treatment can be so much less. We want to make sure the flow and the dissolved oxygen are at optimum levels. Are our filters slowing down in flow? Is there not a rippling happening at the top of the aquarium? This can have a major impact on fish's health. How is the bioload and the decomp? Are we stocking our aquariums too much? Are we having high amounts of decomp under, say, rocks and in the gravel or in the sand? Are those things getting vacuumed out? This we typically see with aquariums that have nitrates that range up into the 40 to 50 ppms. This is a breeding ground for diseases like Aeromonas and Saprolegna, where the dirtiness of the tank is affecting the fish. How is the redox and the mineral count of the aquarium? Are we balancing our redox? This is rather simple, but can be more scientific, but there's an electrical charge of our aquarium that we want to maintain. Remember, our aquariums are closed systems and not open systems. We need to supplement that electrical charge, just like open systems, streams, lakes, oceans. We need to be able to simulate that in our aquarium. If our redox is off, that's what will affect the fish's osmoregulation, wearing down their immunity, and ultimately leading to disease. When you actually finally get to a point of treatment, remember to follow all the professional and directions on the back of the box. When you find a professional that can help you, follow each step, which will include in-tank treatments, baths, possibly swabs, and dips. You want to actually follow and make sure you stick to the schedule. Make a calendar and make sure you're actually following that 100%. You can't honestly say if you missed some treatments in your treatment regimen that you actually performed a successful treatment. We need each dose. Also remember, between each dosing of a medication, do at least a 10 to 20% water change, so the medication will be more effective because there's less organics in the water. Make sure that we're following all fish keeping husbandry. This includes water changes, good filtration, UVC, proper mineralization, feeding, optimal tank size, tank mates, places to hide from aggression. All these things together will just promote for a healthier environment for the fish. And if we carry this through and we know that we did these type of things for the fish right before treatment, then we can safely go ahead with now a treatment because we're confident that we've taken the steps from the beginning to actually provide an environment that's healthy for the fish. Keep in mind, if you go and seek advice for a treatment but you do not follow the whole treatment from A to Z, remember, it's like going to a doctor, explaining your symptoms, the doctor giving you advice, do these advice, but then the next time you come see the doctor, you go, oh, I didn't take my full round of antibiotics, but I'm still sick, what do I do? We need to be following that advice. Also keep in mind there's a time where treatment is not the best idea. We need to think of our fish, of how old our fish is, if there's poor genetics, poor breeding, if the fish has been in this condition for a long term. These type of things make treatments just less successful. So having an optimal environment, pristine water, is just going to aid the fish, but just knowing that the fish is in the last stages and that we're just trying to make it comfortable. This also goes true for a fish that's been fed a poor diet its whole life. Doing something like just switching from that other food to more quality food and thinking that it's going to solve the issue, we've already created an issue long term, and that may not necessarily help. Alright guys, I hope that gives you another lens of how to look at how to treat a sick fish, what to do for a sick fish, and then we could talk about specific treatments. We have a lot of information about different diseases, what are our best recommendations based on professional treatments over the decades, but this is our 1, 2, 3s first. Hope that makes sense for you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this information. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.